In this lesson, we want to see how to do some basic switch configuration. For example, when the switch first boots up, it has a prompt that says something like switch. We might want to modify that. We might want to give the switch a host name. So when we're working on that switch as opposed to another switch, we're going to be able to see some sort of identifier on it so we know the device on which we're working. We probably also want to set up things such as a password. We might want to encrypt passwords. We might want to set the timeout for a remote terminal session or a local terminal session. We can also do things like configuring a banner. When somebody connects into the switch, they can get a message displaying such as, "Welcome to switch number 1." Or maybe we want to have some sort of a maintenance message pop up as the banner. This switch is going to be down for maintenance on Friday from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., something like that. Or maybe we want to have a warning to tell people that are not authorized, do not connect to the switch. And after we make our configuration changes to the switch, they're active immediately. However, if we were to power the switch off and back on, those changes would be lost. By default, those changes that we make, they're in RAM. They don't survive a power cycle. So we also want to see in this lesson, how do we save our configuration? How do we save what is referred to as our running configuration to NVRAM, non-volatile RAM. Non-volatile RAM, it does survive a power cycle. We can copy what's in RAM over to NVRAM, reboot the switch, and we boot up with that saved configuration.
If we have multiple Cisco Catalyst switches in our network, and we probably will, we would want to name those switches differently. So when we're sitting at the console of one switch, I know I'm at one switch instead of another. We don't want to just see the default host name of switch. Here's how to change that. Let's go into global configuration mode. We can do a conf t, and we can use the command host name. Host name followed by whatever name we want to give this switch. Let's say that this is going to be SW1. In the real world, you might want to name this based on the building, the location, maybe a specific floor of a specific building. If you have lots and lots of switches to manage, you should probably come up with a naming scheme, in fact, and make sure your switches and routers are named according to that naming scheme. But here we're just going to call it SW1. Notice that instantly, as soon as I press enter, the host name immediately changes from switch to SW1. And that's how we change the host name.